that I particularly like as Robert W. Service. And this is the cremation of Sam McGee. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails of their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge when I cremated Sam McGee. Now Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows, why he left his home in the south to roam round the poles God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell, though he'd often say, in his homely way, that he'd sooner live in hell. On a Christmas day we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail, talk of your cold through the Parker's fold that stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes we'd closed, then the lashes froze, so tight that you couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. Then later that night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, and the dogs were fed and the stars overhead were dancing heel and toe, he turned to me and Cat, said he, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm asking you won't refuse my last request. Well, he looked so low that I couldn't say no, and he said with a sort of a moan, it's this cursed cold and it's got right hold and I'm chilled right through to the bone. Yet it ain't being dead, it's the awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate these last remains.
Pal's last meet.
Well, a pal's last meet is a thing to heed, and I swore that I wouldn't fail. And off we went at the streak of dawn, but God, he looked ghastly pale. He was crouched in the sleigh and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee. And before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in the land of death, and I hurried on horror-driven, with a corpse half-head that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. It was lashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, you may tax your brawn and brains, but you promised true, and it's up to you to cremate these last remains. Now a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code, and the days could come though my lips were numb and my heart how I cursed that load. In the long, long night by the lone firelight, while the huskies round in a ring howled out their woes to the homeless snows. Oh God, how I loathe that thing. And every day that quiet place seemed heavier and heavier grow. And on we went, though the dogs were spent and the grub was getting low. The trail was bad and I felt half mad, but I swore that I would not give in. And I'd often sing to that hateful thing, and it would hearken with a grin. Till we came to the marge of Lake Labarge, and a derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, but I saw in a trice it was called the Alice May. I looked at it and I thought for a bit, then I looked at my frozen chum. And here, I said with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor and I lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was lying around and I heaped the fuel higher. The flames just soared and the furnace roared with such a blaze you seldom see. And I bored a hole in the glowing coal. And I stopped in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike, for I didn't like to hear him sizzle so. And the stars came out and they danced about and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold and the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks and I don't know why. And the greasy smoke in an inky cloak went streaking across the sky. I don't know for how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear. But the stars came out and they danced about, ere again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a peek inside. I guess he's cooked. And it's time I looked, and the door I opened wide. And there sat Sam, looking cool and calm in the heart of the furnace roar. And he wore a smile you could see for a mile. And he said, please close that door. I'm fine in here, but I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and storm. Since I left Plumtree, down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warned. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge, when I cremated Sam McGee.